And I'll give you the truth why I'm not Speaker. It's because one person, a member of Congress, wanted me to stop an ethics complaint because he slept with a 17-year-old. An ethics complaint that started before I ever became Speaker, and that's illegal, and I'm not going to get in the middle.
Because that's illegal, I'm not going to get into the middle. He's talking about these sex trafficking allegations against Matt Gaetz that were part of this ethics report. And you hear former Speaker McCarthy there saying that this should get out, the truth should happen. Well, okay, after Donald Trump nominated Matt Gaetz to be the top lawyer in the country, to become the Attorney General, Democrats and lots of people said, okay, let's release the report. Let's release this ethics report to talk about child sex trafficking allegations, because it's kind of a big deal, among other things, if your Attorney General has credible allegations of child sex trafficking. So the ethics committee was asked, release the report. They voted, they were deadlocked. All of the Republicans voted against it. The Democrats on the committee said, release it, and that blocked it. So there was a stalemate. And then Matt Gaetz, I think, realized that if he was going to stay in, the Senate was going to get it and he was going to be asked about it. So he finally withdrew his name, but the Republicans didn't release it. So then what happens next, Harry? The Democrats put a resolution on the floor to release the report, even though Matt Gaetz is out. Like, now it's kind of a big deal, right? Because child sex trafficking allegations, like, are the Republicans covering up like child sex trafficking allegations? Shouldn't the cover up be explored? So Democratic Congress member, Representative Sean Casten, he went to the floor and he said, let's release this. Let's put it for a vote. So let's show you what went down. Let's play it.
Pursuant to Clause 2A1 of Rule 9, I rise to give notice of my intent to raise a question of the privileges of the House.
The gentleman is recognized.
The form of the resolution is as follows. House Resolution, directing the Committee on Ethics of the House of Representatives to release to the public the committee's report on its investigation into allegations against former Representative Matt Gaetz. Whereas, on April 9th, 2021, the Committee on Ethics of the House of Representatives announced that it had begun to review allegations that Representative Matt Gaetz may have engaged in sexual misconduct and illicit drug use, shared inappropriate images or videos on the House floor, misused state identification records, converted campaign funds for personal use, and accepted a bribe, improper gratuity, or impermissible gift in violation of the rules of the House, laws, or other standards of conduct.
So we now got the vote on that, and all of the Republicans voted against releasing the report. Now, Gaetz is no longer the AG nominee, so we can talk about that, but I still think, you got to release this. You got to release this report. If there's somebody out there, in my view, Harry, with child sex trafficking allegations, roaming the land, who potentially wants to run for governor, I kind of want to know. And when the former Speaker of the House in your own political party for the Republicans says that's what we should know if there's a predator on the loose. What do you think about this?
Well, all of us kind of want to know for sure, for all kinds of reasons. I actually think it might matter that now he's become a private citizen and he knew what was coming and he took himself out of contention. Of course, he says that, or he's mentioned, I should say, as a potential gubernatorial candidate. DeSantis is term limited. And if he runs again, that really does make it salient. And not just, you do keep saying, I understand child sex trafficking allegations. That's because this one 17-year-old girl, the fact that she was a minor was what gave rise to a single federal charge that the feds looked into, decided not to bring, in part because she seemed a little bit hinky as a witness. But what the ethics report is about, and what the background investigation, which is the real reason I think he stepped aside, that would have started with him in front of an FBI agent answering everything, and every false statement he made would have been a felony, is way, way more, because whether or not a federal crime, it's clearly crimes under Florida law, but also things that go to fitness. So we're talking about allegations of repeated use with a partner in crime who's now doing time for this, 11 years in Florida, where they would use this kind of sugar daddy site, get girls or even women if they're if they were over 18, but then take them away for fancy dinners and the like, and drug fueled, we're talking MDMA, a Schedule 1 controlled substance, sexual parties and the like. So the whole thing, whether or not that little snippet gave rise to federal charges, the whole big package is a huge mess going to illegality, national security risk, because he could be blackmailed by any of these folks, Florida law, and the like. So it seems to me, I have some sympathy for the notion that if he's out of public life totally, maybe it's less relevant. On the other hand, I do want to say things have a way of leaking there. If I had to bet with nothing else, that he does nothing else, I would bet the report does come out. There's so many people who can leak it, and that's what Congress tends to do. But I want to be clear that first, I don't think he's done in public life, but second, we're talking about a whole season of X-rated soap opera that would be involved in this ethics committee report. You heard the guy, the congressman, when he introduced the resolution, money laundering, campaign stuff, showing pictures of his sexual conquest on the House floor. Not a crime, but some pretty crass, nasty, ugly behavior. And that's who Matt Gaetz, seems to be. And his personality and judgment, those become a real issue if he wants to be governor of Florida, not to mention whether or not he's repeatedly broken Florida law.
That's the part, Harry, for me. Did he violate a law? Look,
yeah.
The bottom line is that there aren't ethics reports because members of Congress are into X-rated pornos, right? That's not what the issue is here. And the reality is, if that's what it was, I'm not here to look in judgment of, unlike the MAGA Republicans who clearly want to talk about penises and vaginas all day. I don't care what they do in private. I don't care what they do consensually as adults. Their sex life, their private life, I'm not here to kink shame. None of that. And I don't want to put out reports that show that. What I'm interested in is there a child sex predator? Is there a sex predator on the loose? And when the former Republican Speaker of the House is saying that there is a demon on the loose, a sex predator on the loose, I want to make sure that people are protected from this guy, not from consensual relationships, but, not to embarrass him and talk about whether he's got a tiny penis or like this. That's not the goal of this. It is to say, is there a child sex trafficker? Is there someone who was involved in ethics violations and abused power in a way that harmed we the people and harmed real victims? And frankly, if the conclusion is that there wasn't and there isn't, then I'm kind of the view, I don't need to hear about people's sex lives to embarrass. Yeah. I don't want to do it. But that's not what this really is, though, Harry.
It really is. And look, I don't want to be prudish either about some of the drug use per se, but would this be relevant information for you and the people of Florida for whether this guy who really flouts the law, doesn't seem to care about it, besides acting like he's, 17, is a responsible person to head the Department of Justice and the Drug Enforcement Administration, or the government of Florida? That now it does become germane. So here I think our positions can kind of overlap. And personally, I think Matt Gaetz may be taking a bit of a leave of absence, but not a permanent one. Another thing to sort of filter in here, and it's an interesting part of the vote, he is just by all accounts the most despised member of Congress. He's really unpopular. And he has, that's one of the reasons I think that there was no love lost when he was nominated to be Attorney General. But that will figure in, I think, to the whole dynamic and whether or not these charges will somehow seep out. And now I'm just talking as a matter of realpolitik in Washington, D.C.
Right. So, you have the initial cover-up, though, while Gaetz was running for AG by the Ethics Committee by Republicans. So now there has to be the cover up of the cover up in order to, because now what Trump did by putting Gaetz in that position and forcing the ethics committee Republicans not to release the report is now people were going to likely ask, wait a minute, you refused to release this. So now all the Republicans have to kind of jump in and now protect their Republicans from that getting out. And to me, what this kind of looks like is a kind of, what do they call that? Those Russian dolls that you get into different.
The Matryoshka dolls are right, exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
And ultimately that may be an apt example because it's basically a series of compromise where everyone feels compromised and looking over their shoulders when the right thing to do would have been the ethics committee just freaking releasing the report as it should have been released. But Harry, you've got the Talking Feds Substack that is crushing it right now. It's climbing the charts. Everybody subscribe to Harry Litman's Talking Feds Substack. It's just as good as you are on YouTube, which is A+. You are and always have been a brilliant writer. So the fact that the Talking Feds YouTube channel can be rivaled by or exceeded by your incredible Substack is a real special thing. So subscribe to the Talking Feds YouTube channel. Subscribe to the Talking Feds Substack. Harry, thank you.
Hey, Ben, that's so kind of you to say, especially coming from you, who really crushes this daily. But thanks a lot. Thanks to all your listeners. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.